Hey guys, it's Hannah. I am up on a mountain overlooking Athens, Greece. It's about a week post the Hellenic MTN Race, and I thought I would share some thoughts with y'all about how it went. That might be just about the best view. Look at all of it. Fuck! First off, I will talk about my kit and kind of what I brought with me. This was the first time that I didn't carry a full sleep kit. I was looking to push it a little bit and wasn't sure if I wanted to carry as much weight as I normally do. So I just brought my sleeping pad and a sleeping bag liner. I also had an emergency bivvy with me just in case. And I slept in rain pants and my puffy Albion jacket with a hood. So it was plenty warm. And I also tried to find little hideaways that were out of the elements so that I could stay as warm as I could. It wasn't too hard to find a bunch of stuff along the route. One of the best parts about this route is just how populated it is. There are tiny towns all throughout Greece that have nice little cozy spots that you can bivvy. And during the day, whenever you roll through these towns, there's lots of little tavernas and places to get real, actual hot meals, which was one of my favorite parts about this route. It was awesome to have so much access to so many resources. And there are parts toward the end that you have to be a little bit more strategic because you go through some more kind of deserted areas, like where towns used to be. So you've got to pay attention to that, but Nelson does a really good job of putting all of the information into the Ride with GPS route file. As far as the actual route itself, the surfaces that you are traversing are all kinds. There are a lot of climbs that are actually on asphalt and are paved, which is really nice. There are also several that are not paved at all and on some pretty rough gravel roads. There are some descents as well that are taking you through actual single track. And so I would say of the three mountain races, the Hellenic MTN Race is definitely the most mountain bike focused race. There are sections that it's true an actual trail, and it does take some skill to navigate through those, but it's also always possible just to walk through them. I opted for somewhere in the middle. I like to challenge myself a little bit, and I only have a little bit of pride for what I have to walk and what I get to ride. But I was super grateful to be on my hardtail with my flat bars and my super strong Magura brakes because I was able to kind of pick through and choose my line. And I also would not have done this race or done it nearly as quickly or as comfortably without my dropper post. I have squeezed a 170 mil Axis RockShox dropper onto my bike, and that thing saved me. So other must-haves as far as equipment goes, first and foremost was definitely my helm fork from Cane Creek. I had it set up at 120, which is on the shorter side. It ranges all the way up to 160, so it makes for a very beefy fork, super comfortable on all the downhills. I would open it up and really let that 120 float me down and then knock it back and nearly lock it out for whenever I'm climbing back up. Additionally, I also ran a Hydra 2 hub from Industry 9. They're the brand new Enduro hub that came out here a couple months ago, and let me tell you, the engagement on that thing is incredible. I was super stoked to feel so powerful just climbing through things that I did not expect to clear. It was awesome to be able to rely on a little half pedal to get up little inclines and all of the steps and stairs that Nelson takes you up and down. So I was super grateful for my Hydra hub. I could really feel the difference, and I am so happy that I decided to run that wheel for this race. Another one of my must-haves that made this route really comfortable for me was my Magura MT8s. I've got the 2-piston brakes set up on my Sendero, and so the 2-piston does a great job for me. I don't have any rubbing issues, and it is always snappy and great. On Hellenic, I definitely let my rear brake pads go nearly all the way out, and I thought about replacing them, but I saw a little bit of meat left and I was able to get through it despite all of the rain and mud and muck. They lasted me until the end. So I will be replacing them before this next race, but I was super grateful that they made it all the way through. Lastly, on my equipment side of things, I also installed SRAM transmission for my summer in Europe, and I'm super grateful that I did. I used to make jokes whenever they came out with transmission and they boasted about how you could just shift in the middle of grinding up a hill, and I was like, why don't you just learn how to shift and do it properly? But I will say, now that it's possible for me to just shift whenever I want, I definitely use and abuse that accessory. So it's been really lovely. It's worked very well for me. I ran Axis for the last 2 years, and so I am bought into the reliability of the wireless stuff, and I'm grateful that transmission did such a great job during Hellenic as well. So I talked a little bit about each of my equipment must-haves and talked a little bit about the route as well and what to expect. I will say that this was one of the more technically difficult races that I've done. I don't think anyone should be super intimidated by this route. There's always ways to get down the mountain safely, and there's a way you can trick yourself into just having little milestones to look forward to. I think that mindset of just accepting that you were going to be climbing forever and ever, and knowing that there's going to be another mountain on the other side of this one, was a good method for just keeping my head up and making sure that I'm looking around whilst I'm also grinding up the mountain. So thanks so much for tuning in, y'all. If you guys have any questions, feel free to throw them in the comments or hit me up on Instagram. I will be updating throughout the summer with all of the escapades that I'm getting up to. Next is El Piri in Spain. That starts on June 14th. I will make sure to share my dot, and hope to hear from y'all soon. Woo! I walk off camera? I don't know what I do.